What's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Global Chat Room.
Yo, what it do?
I have my brother, as always, DJ Poster Child, aka Furkan,
Eh.
aka Smokey.
Oh man.
And today, we have a very special guest with us. We have Fahad from Canvas Studios.
Thanks
What's up,
for
Fahad?
having me. Doing good. How you guys doing?
Good,
Seeing
good,
you
man.
guys.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Me and Smokey have been talking about like we got to bring some vendors that
Yeah.
we really work with, that we get very have good relationship with. So
Yeah,
thank you for
man.
coming through. We appreciate you being here.
Appreciate
Right.
it. No.
Definitely.
be
So,
here.
anyone that doesn't know, I don't know how you wouldn't know who Fahad is. He's one of the amazing photographers in the industry. I've known Fahad myself over close to 20 years, or even over 20 years, maybe.
20.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Crazy how time flies.
Yes.
Sheesh, bro. I think I've known Fahad for like 7 now.
As long as you have
Almost,
known
right?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
7, 8 years.
bro.
Time flies.
Yeah.
A nice
But,
sweet decade. Yeah.
But it's been amazing having you in the industry. You was were you already in the industry before I started, or we
Yeah.
kind of came together?
I I think I was just starting.
Okay,
Yeah. At
And-
least my professional work.
okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Like professionally getting in the wedding industry.
in the
that
pro
was
business,
okay.
yeah.
Got it. Got it. And in I mean, photography wasn't always your first or main thing, and we definitely would love to know how you got into this and what led you to become a wedding photographer.
Yeah. Oh, really good question. Also, thank you so much for having me. Yeah. What I would say is the journey was not easy. It was really hard. Especially when I got out of college, I had no idea what I was doing.
Hmm.
No fucking clue.
Hmm.
You know, I was on track to go to medical school, and I was like, yo,
Wait, you were gonna do medical?
yeah,
No fucking
I
way.
was gonna go to SUNY Downstate. I was gonna become a cardiologist, hopefully, you know. But
Dude.
yeah,
What?
Look
it
from
would
what
have
to
been
what.
great, you
Yeah.
know. But my heart was elsewhere, and you know, I wanted to do something more creative,
Hmm.
and I felt like I was gonna make a bigger impact with people if I was actually, you know, feet first, doing the things that I wanted to do, and then seeing the effects of that, you know. And yeah, you know, alhamdulillah, like, you know, I'm where I am today partly because of the support of people that I have, like you guys and everyone that sort of like led me there, you know. So yeah.
No, I do remember. I don't want to say literally the first time you picked up a camera, but I do remember you just having a camera wherever you went,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yo, who the hell is this kid? And that time it was like he went to a different high school than me, but we've had mutual friends. I have some of my closest childhood friend that went to the same school as him, and he would always roll with them, right? And I'm like, yo, who's this kid? Like he always has a camera. So like you always had a camera, so I knew like we didn't know, but like down the line this was what's gonna
Yeah.
be. But I can you like imagine like when you had that you would be where you are right now, like doing this?
No, no, not at all. When I first started doing photos, it was just like, you know, I just had a camera, I was just shooting around, like leaves and shit, and like, you know, people in the streets. You know?
He said leave.
Leaves.
Yeah, but eventually, when Instagram first released, I think in like 2011, 2013, somewhere.
Yeah,
around
yeah, yeah.
you know, I signed up for it, and then I started posting my first image. I just started randomly just taking pictures on the streets,
Mm.
and you know, eventually I found that people were following me, and then people started liking my stuff. I mean, I don't have a grand following, but at
Right.
the same time, like the people that I have, they've stuck with me since Instagram's inception.
Mm.
And yeah, my work sort of like just picked up in there, and then I started focusing on the nuance of emotion in images. And I think that's like super important, because a lot of photographers, you know, they become photographers through either the avenue of doing a business, or they want to get in the avenue of creating genuine art
Hmm.
and inspiration. And I think there's like a fine line between the two, but there's also a little bit of a gray area that where the convergence
I think for
happens.
you is the latter, right? It's like it's
Yeah.
not just a business for you. Like how can you create?
Yeah, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And you want it to be a lifestyle, because if you don't make your work habits and your personal life as part of your lifestyle, you're not going to really be able to mesh the two and sort of like go through all the leaps and bounds that you want to make
Hmm.
in your both in your business and your personal life. So
I agree. I think like the first time Smokey saw you, and obviously we did events, like yo, and you took some photos. He's like, yo, this kid, like he's doing dope. I'm like, yeah,
I'm still
obviously.
waiting on my headshots.
yo, I got you, bro. Yo, we got to plan that out.
Yeah.
We got you guys.
But like I could just talk about like, yo, I see talent in Fahad, but whenever like other people see them, like, you're doing well. And Fahad is like one vendor, and I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of vendors. He actually invested in his craft.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, because Fahad and I would have conversations, like like even when he was doing amazing work already, he would be taking courses and classes on how to make it even
No way.
better.
Yeah, that's
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, if I was him, I already know my work is great. But him, he's like, nah. What if there's someone that's doing a lot more than what I'm doing? I want to be there as well. And he was just telling me like thousands of dollars that he has invested
yeah,
in these courses, in these classes. If you
yeah.
want to just let it.
So, one thing about wedding photography and being an actual business in wedding photography is just like vastly like skewed, because you want to make sure if you're getting into a business in any realm of business, you want to know exactly what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and have like an execution plan. So when I first started wedding photography, I was just doing events like you know and I didn't even have the gear. Like I had some cameras, I had like two cameras, and I had like like one to two lenses. And then the lenses that I would get, I would rent it out from my friends. I would like go to my. There was this one time I remember I went to one of my boys' house and he had the 70, like those long white lenses, 7200. I didn't have it, and he had one. I was like, hey, bro, like, is there any way I can borrow this? He's like, yeah, this is my fees for rental, da, da, da. And I rented it out and I used it. And then I started ending up with like good results because I started investing and genuinely putting my resources into one, people who have the things that they need, and then two, being resourceful in finding the people that you want to work with. And that's very big
That is
in
so
the
important. So
wedding industry,
important. Yeah.
because the people you work with are ultimately going to define what type of business you're going to be,
Yeah.
right?
They're also going to represent you, like especially
Yeah,
if they're working with you. So you don't want to have people that, number one, you want to have people that you could trust,
yeah,
um, that you could depend on.
yeah,
I think those are like some key important factors. And as you mentioned, like, you also want to be around these people.
yeah,
And I know that, I don't want to speak for yourself, but I know you are trying to grow your business, your team, and you're trying to bring in different products and stuff like that. If you do want to touch on that, by all means you can. But again, as what you have been doing, what I have seen, like, we have this conversation time to time.
yeah, we
Like,
do. Yeah,
I'll be like, yo, I just saw what you posted on your story. That's fire,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And you're like, yo, thank you. Like, I thought it was the same. Like, I could see the difference between your work from 3 years ago and right now.
Yeah.
And go
Dude,
ahead.
yeah,
dude, I was gonna say like Fahad actually inspired me to do like a lot of the like even like the flyer work and all
Yeah.
this other stuff that I like content wise that I post. I was like, because I think Fahad he was the one that started the whole like, oh yeah, I'm doing this and like the way he would lay it out, and I was like, yo Fahad, what do you use? And he was like, yo dude, I use Canva. I don't know if you remember that conversation, but then
yeah,
I was like, he said Canva, Mojo, and from then on, like I didn't really like heavily invest into Canva, but I was like, yo, Mojo is the shit. And then when like the way he was doing every like the animations and all that stuff, mind you, he's a photographer, but he was doing video work,
That's wild.
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
And it was like, and he was integrating everything together and like piece by piece. So like he was already standing out from like his peers for
yeah,
and like he was pretty much putting on like this whole like outlook and like yo I do this too, but then like it's not something that like it was just too fire, and like the way you would put out yourself and like promote yourself, it was just wild.
yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, for me, like, it wasn't just one avenue in learning my wedding photography. And now I'm in a position where I have to learn a lot more things. And part of that is also just working with the people that are like not within the same mindset, but they want to grow within the same tea. If any of you guys are like into like reading a lot of books, there's this one thing that I came across. It's called How You Build Your Tea. Your tea is your upper base is essentially all your skill sets, and the vertical is what you're mostly excelling on, and you want that to excel on like a much drastic horizontal level. So when you're learning things, you want to make sure you're able to encapsulate all areas, not just social media, not just client business relations, not just building a CRM or like building a business infrastructure that can sort of like accommodate your business, but also be able to be flexible enough to understand exactly how you can evolve your business.
Right.
And I think that's where we all are right now, because
Yeah.
like we're in a crazy transition period where one, you have to do YouTube, you have to do like Instagram, you have to have a TikTok now, which I can't even do. I can't even get on TikTok and just dance away. It's just not me.
Forget dancing. You know how many times I've been on his ass like, yo, post, post, post.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, it's something I'm bad at. I'm like, no, I need you to post. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And I think Fahad recently has been on the same boat as us. We like obviously we touched a little bit on that on a couple of our episodes. We are now, it's more important that we do quality over quantity.
Exactly.
And that's what you have been doing for the past, I would say, pre-COVID, post-COVID. That's something that you're like, yo, if they don't see my talent, then I shouldn't be part
Yeah.
of the event.
I agree, but I think there's something deeper to that. There's a reason why I don't like to post too much of my work. One, it really dilutes your overall Instagram, and two, like I also have this very specific creative ability when I'm working with my couples, and if I just sort of like just release it to all of social media, it takes away the experience for some of my couples, because couples just want to see like, oh, what kind of pictures can you take? But when you think about it on a much deeper level, you want to give your couples an experience, and this is where that business line sort of transcends into like an actual experience for your clients. I'm pretty sure you guys have had this
Yep.
experience when you're doing weddings, and couples are super ecstatic about everything that you do from beginning to all the way to the end, where you got like conversing about like how you guys were communicating. I saw your like all the reviews that people read for you guys. So those things are very important. But when it came to me, I was like, yo, if I'm gonna be taking like nice pictures, it can't be just about the nice pictures. Everyone takes nice pictures nowadays. You can take a fucking phone and like take some amazing pictures on a
Portrait mode
wedding.
is
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy right now.
You don't gotta even do anything. It auto focuses and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like it blurs out. Like, dude, you don't. You were saying 72 lens or whatever,
7200, yeah.
bro. I do that with my iPhone. What's up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we have the gear now, but the idea of photography has always been about emotion and experience. And if you understand those things and the nuances between
Yeah.
those, you can one leave an emotional impact for your couples in the pictures that you take, and then give them an experience through those photos.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just post photos. I go through this process of like being hyper selective about who I work with, exactly what type of couples that I want to work with, because not every couple is going to be my fit. I don't like to book every couple. I would like to book couples that are within the same creative mindset, but also they have the same personality. And I say this to my couples, like even during my first or second consultations. I'm like, hey, like I want to make sure that my couples can sort of mirror me to a certain degree,
Nice.
because on the wedding day, you're going through so much emotion and all this stuff. The most important thing you can rely on is a person who can sort of navigate through that, right? And a photographer is usually the person that sort of like tags along with the couple throughout the entire day, from
Yeah.
prep shots all the way to the very end, where the couple's like bagging out some champagne bottles and going into their Rolls Royce or some shit.
Yeah, and
So
that's important because as a photographer or a cinematographer, these are moments that the bride and groom gets to see years from now.
yeah,
Whereas in like our impact stays at that moment and that day. Your impact could go a long way, right? And why I say this is that now, if your client is in on the same wavelength as you and isn't vibing the same way as you are, how are you gonna make them laugh? How are you gonna get them free from their zone, from
Yeah.
their comfort zone?
yeah,
Because after delivery, they see these pictures. They're like, oh, I look uptight. Oh, why didn't the photography tell me I'd look different? Like, so that's what you guys are so important in the wedding industry, because not only can you make or break the day, you can make or break years of things that they're not gonna get back.
Yeah. Memories, man.
Memories.
And
Dude, talk about emotion. I'm sorry to cut you off.
yeah,
But even like when we did the taco event, bro. Like
Yeah.
I saw some
Oh
photos,
yeah.
bro, and like I spoke to Fahad that night, and I was like, yo, bro, like there's certain photos like that he took of Vermont, right? And the first thing that came out of my mouth, bro, I couldn't feel the emotions through the picture. Like there's certain moments that are just warm, and you're like, yo, bro, like I can feel it. Like I didn't even need to be there.
Like I remember that moment,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
right. And I told him, and the exact words, I was like, yo, I can feel the emotions through the photos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
And
like, and mind you, it wasn't nothing like that was like, oh yeah, no, stand like this. It was candid photos,
Well, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, when it comes to these type of photos, it has to be candid.
right?
So even
Yeah.
guests that were attending, and this the laughter, the emotion,
Yeah.
that one guy that spit out water, and you caught that moment. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you didn't catch the moment, but you caught the moment where he was
Yeah.
still struggling. And I saw that photo. I remember that exact moment that happened. So yeah, I mean, it's not always about let me fix my bride, let me make them pose, but
Yeah.
how can I capture these candid
Mm-hmm.
moments as well?
I agree. But not every moment's gonna be perfect. Because I took so many workshops, I learned so many things about, lighting and the creative side, and just being on that same grind set of like how to shoot an image.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I learned is that never chase a moment, always anticipate it.
Oh,
Um,
no,
and
That's
that's
a
fire.
bar. That's a
yeah,
That's
bar
fire.
right there.
it's a I should make a rap sheet. Yeah, but no, real talk. When you're anticipating a moment happening, as a photographer, you're not thinking about like, oh, I hope this happens. You got to sort of like know that it's gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. There was this one wedding that I was shooting, and there's so many. It was a Hindu ceremony. Beautiful, like festive stuff happening. The pandit, he's doing the sermon and everything, and the couple, like, they're super super ecstatic. They're about to do the garland exchange, right? And in this specific wedding, he was like almost like, dude, he was like almost 7 foot, and she was she was on
No
the
way.
like
The
short
guy
side.
was 7 feet.
Well, not seven,
Like
but like
somewhere in the six
very
foot.
tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their height margin was like very different, but
Sheesh.
but the all her brothers and stuff, they literally grabbed her, like
Carried her up.
threw her up in the air, and then like she slammed the
The
garland
garland.
on his face. But I knew those things were gonna obviously happen. I'm
Yeah.
capturing it as it goes. But if you don't realize what's happening behind you, you don't realize like the emotions that you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
When I'm taking pictures, I'm not only focused on my couple, I'm focused on everything that's happening around
Yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
And when you're perspicacious enough to sort of like pick up on everything at a wedding, you're
Mm-hmm.
able to better like be prepared for the things that you're not sort of like accounting for.
And that's important. Obviously, there will be times that you could capture both moments, and this is why I always tell our couples when you do speak to the photographers, make sure you have more than one person,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah,
Because forget about as a single person being able to capture everything and anything because they're all happening in the same room, but it just gives so much ease to a couple knowing that they're not missing any moment,
yeah,
especially when we're having speeches at events, right? The main photographer could just be on the person that's giving a speech, but you have this other person that could literally like scale the room or just like look around the room and see what moments they could catch.
yeah,
Somebody's
Yeah.
probably crying, somebody's probably laughing hard at a joke,
yeah.
and that is exactly, and I'm glad you mentioned that because people don't realize it, what they are going to be missing out when you don't have multiple people shooting.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's a conversation always that comes up. Oh, how can we save money? Yeah, you can save money, but you can't bring those moments back,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But, money is secondary to the quality of work that I give to my
Yeah. No.
couples.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure it applies for you
Yep.
guys as well. Like, you don't go into booking a client just because they're paying you 10, $15,000, whatever it
Hmm.
is. Like, it's not about the actual finances of it. It's like how you can execute it together and collaborate. And you're not just on the stage of doing this just by yourself. You're in the arena with wedding planners who probably have spent months like coordinating
We don't
with
realize that. Yeah.
caterers, like
Mm-hmm.
decorators, going through different styles with the couples. There's so many things, and I also get an idea of it because I get to speak with my couples about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the day of, the DJ and the MC and sort of like all of entertainment and lighting and all that stuff that goes into it, that's all the day of.
Hmm.
So imagine the things that have to come together all at once for those things
Yep.
to happen.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And you want to make sure you can operate within those parameters in the best way possible. And yeah, I don't think one person can do it ever alone. You have to have like a good team of people, and not just with vendors, but also even your own team. All my associate shooters that are working with me, they're all very nuanced and understanding. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if Fahad's like shooting a couple, maybe I might want to focus on the couple's parents. Oh,
Mm.
Fahad gave me the photo planning list that he worked with the couple from a couple of months ago. I know exactly what type of names I have to look for on
Hmm.
the photo list that I have.
Mm.
And that's again, that's like all communication and like the
Yeah.
genuine nuance that goes into like doing actual wedding photography.
I got a
Yeah.
question for you.
Yeah,
Let's talk about gear, right?
yeah.
What's your first camera like?
Ooh, first camera.
First,
Okay,
you still have it?
yeah.
Shit.
So I kept all my cameras.
Hmm.
And the reason I kept all my cameras is part of like looking at my legacy from
Mm.
where I first started to where I am now. And my first camera was two Canon 70s. They were crop sensor bodies, nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I got both of them, and then I started shooting with them, and yeah, just
Is that the camera you used to be around Ronald with? Is that one of
That was
those?
probably one of the first
that was
cameras.
definitely
Yeah.
Yeah.
or it might have been the Sony.
It could have been the Sony,
Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
you're a Canon guy, I think,
yeah,
right? Yeah, he's always been Canon guy. They did so when it comes to photographers, you'll never see, like, I would say 99.9%, you would never see a person carrying a Nikon and a Canon at the same event.
no,
If it's a Canon, it's all Canons. If
yeah,
it's a Nikon, it's all Nikons. If it's a Sony, it's all Sonys.
yeah.
Um, that's that's what they prefer and that's what they do. But before we end today's episode, I do have a question for you, and
Hmm.
well, two questions maybe. Doing this, like, are you happy that this is the path you have kind of chose for yourself? And number two, if there's something that you could expect out of this upcoming year, and or something that different you want to do, what would that be?
I'm not only happy, I'm beyond grateful. I I I never thought I'd be joining like a community of creators doing wild shit
Hmm.
across the board.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about like DJs mixing it up in different levels now. Like we have DJs that are turning into musicians now, and music producers, all sorts of things. Wedding planners, they're taking leaps and bounds in terms of like the stuff that they're doing. In terms of like creating mood boards, all sorts of things. Everyone's doing their thing, and they're excelling in it. And I like to be in an environment where I can cherish those things, and I like to be with like-minded people that can sort of think within that same wavelength. Because for me, like it was never about like, oh, like uh, what type of weddings I do or what type of like creative work I do. It was about like being in the environment of people that are like all doing different types of creative things.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're around people like that, it creates like genuine inspiration,
Absolutely, yeah.
and you want genuine inspiration. You don't want to be around like basic bullshit.
Hmm.
And we've lived through all that. We lived through COVID. We lived through a lot of basic shit where
Yeah,
people
we
just
all have the same
Yeah,
experience.
man.
Yeah.
yeah accepted basic things that didn't challenge them. And you want to challenge yourself. And if you're
Yeah.
not able to challenge yourself, you're not able to take bigger steps in life where it's necessary.
Hmm.
I strongly implore anyone that's like doing anything in life, it's always implore your creative side and see where it takes you, because
Mm-hmm.
it probably will explore a deeper side of what you're capable of. And I think the second thing, I think we're talking about like
Yeah, what you're expecting out of
yeah,
2024, and
I would say 2023 was probably one of my most challenging years.
Mm.
It wasn't an easy year for me. I have to be fully honest. It was rather interesting to see the fall off from couples we had from 2022 2021, the post COVID weddings, and
Mhm.
then also getting into the zone of like, okay, what type of couples do you want for this year, and also what type of creative endeavors do you want to do for this year. And this is not something every photographer does, and I also like think photographers should always do like a sort of like a recap of every year. Like my 2023 was excellent year of like getting to know okay what my strengths are, but also where my weaknesses are, so I
Mm.
could actually be like, all right, these are things I can work on.
Hmm.
2024, it is going to be a great fucking year.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I have some absolutely incredible couples. I'm going to the Salt Flats for one of my couples.
Oh, dope.
It's sick, yeah. So we're probably gonna do like those mountain shoots with the Salt Flats. It's
That's
gonna be
dope.
sick, yeah.
That's dope.
Nice.
I got one. Who's your favorite like photographer? Do you like in do you follow like a certain kind of photographer till date? Like, do you have someone that you look up to?
Yeah, there are a few. Some are in the wedding industry.
Mm-hmm.
Some are doing vastly different things. And others are sort of just out there floating. I don't like to view other photographers as one competition and
Mm.
two in any way, shape, or form
Mm-hmm.
impeding my way of, or even like not inspiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Amir Hamza, like he's
Yeah.
absolutely one of my
Oh yeah, dude. He's
For New
pretty
York
dope.
Times
Yeah.
and stuff.
wild,
Yeah.
absolutely wild. Like I love the style, the photojournalistic style.
Yeah.
That's bar none for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love photojournalistic style of photography. I also like um, Charmy Pena. I don't know if you've ever seen any of her
Hmm.
work. She's an absolutely amazing wedding photographer. She's big in the like the Indian wedding industry and
Hmm.
stuff. But um, tons of amazing photographers. But I what I look for is always like that. You know, like when you mentioned that spark of emotion that you
Mm-hmm.
see in an image. That's what I look for.
Mm.
And it gives me an idea of like, okay, how do I create something like that, but I don't have to do it in the same way
Wait,
or that they've done it.
like it's not a copycat, but more
Yeah,
of an inspiration. And I took that inspiration and I applied
Mm-hmm.
it to mine.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how does it, more importantly, how does it relate to your couple,
Mm.
right? And this is a big thing that a lot of photographers forget. They go into a wedding, it's like, oh, I gotta set up the lighting, I gotta do this. Then I'm like, yeah, that's just the structure and workflow.
Mm-hmm.
How is your relationship with your couple and their parents, and like are you capturing that?
Hmm.
Like when
Mm.
like I'll give you an example. There's one time the bride was getting ready. There's one bride, absolutely amazing bride, and she was a little anxious because like things were a little behind, and she wanted to catch up to everything. And I told her, I was like, hey, listen, just take a deep breath. You're gonna be fine. Your mom's here. She looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm pretty sure you haven't seen your mom like this, all dressed up and all looking beautiful. And she was like, "Fahad, that's exactly what I want to hear." And then I did a first look with the mom. Mom sees her, like she starts crying like
Emotional. Yeah.
crazy. And those were the emotions that's gonna stick.
Mm.
Like you see, like when you talked about like images that's gonna last years, that's an image that's
That's
gonna
yeah.
last
Timeless,
for years
bro.
because
Timeless.
Absolutely.
because I've had couples that come back to me. They're like, oh, like God, like one of my grandparents passed away. This stuff like that. Like, and it's emotional for me because I'm like I was there and I met your grandmother or something like that. But then when they pass away, those are the images that those are the last things that they have left.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
No, and
yeah,
I think it's very important that you touched into a lot of these subjects that I
yeah,
think goes it doesn't get into couples' mind as far as images, as far as memories that they could have for a long time, right? And
yeah,
I think because I've seen the wedding industry, because I've seen that people are just going by what others have thought about this photographer rather than just meeting someone and getting to see more of their work, because not everything you shoot is on social media, nor should it be.
it shouldn't be exactly.
Because then when a client meets you, what are you actually showing them? This is my
Yeah.
folio, just go on my IG, everything is there. No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
it should be a folio that you're going to have and you get to show your clients, and that what builds the conversation, right? And I once again I do want to thank you for joining us today.
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
No, thank you
Again,
guys.
This was
we
dope.
It's
Thank you, man.
and hopefully by you being here, we'll have our other vendors, our preferred vendors, or just anyone,
yeah,
business owners that we do have a lot of ideas of
Yeah.
bringing some talents to the show. So thank you for starting it off
Yeah, man.
so
no,
that
thank you.
people do this.
If you
And
guys don't know, he is one of my favorite photographers. I fucking love his work. I genuinely like big shout out to you, bro.
Thank
Like
you.
thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure Ron appreciates
no,
it
I
too.
appreciate it. And then again, as always, you made it this far. Please, uh, Fahad, thank you. Everyone that's watching, thank you. Subscribe, follow us. We
Follow
always
him too.
Yeah. Oh yes, it is Canvas Studios
Canvas Studios official on
official
Instagram.
on Instagram. His personal is Fahad Malik. Definitely follow him, please. If you're looking for some amazing photographers, if you are looking for someone that is gonna be genuine about their work, d- definitely check him out.
Yeah.
Shoot him a DM, shoot him an email. Maybe mention us. Maybe you get a break. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much, guys.
But thank you.
Really
We'll
appreciate
see you on the next one, guys.
Peace.